Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private server Rebirth. We are with Tiger Shrike, our level 36 Stalker, who has over 4 million XP and about a half a million to go to get to level 37. And we have 19.8 million influence. And we're on a story arc for Anton Sampson. The story arc is called Mass Duplicity and is about Nemesis. And he says, according to the ledger you found, the Nemesis armies have been moving their shipments through a number of front companies. If we can figure out which one was the final destination of this mysterious prototype, we may get a good idea of what those soldiers are planning. The first company on this list is an import-export business called Love West Trading. Will you investigate them? Yes, and we're probably going to find Nemesis soldiers in there, because this is a Nemesis story arc. I'm pretty happy. I really like fighting Nemesis. I mean, there are some aspects of it that are a little frustrating, particularly dealing with the fortification buff when a lieutenant dies and juices the neighboring guys, but you know, that's just a tactical problem and fairly easy to solve. So now these are the ones that look like secretaries or office clerks and are supposed to like be hiding in plain sight kind of thing. So he puts them in the office and then they spy on the company for him or do his bidding. These guys are not as challenging as the regular Nemesis soldiers in general. And my guess is the office will probably be mostly full of them, because the actual uniformed soldiers would draw too much attention, right? If they're just going to keep giving me 2 minions at a time, this is going to be a stupidly easy mission. And one of the reasons I don't like the automaton missions when it's just the automatons, like not just automatons sprinkled with the other soldiers, but almost exclusively automatons, is it's too easy. Yeah, so at least there's a lieutenant. I don't know if these guys juice. Let's see if they do. I think they do, but let's try. Yep. Okay, so now we know to get them first, no matter what. I thought so. Alright. But those guys do not have a lieutenant amongst them. Let's see what's over here first. We are just investigating. So my guess is this may be a defeat all, but there's probably a glowy somewhere here. I really love focus. And notice, guys, I was really sloppy about using it as my ranged attack, and I was always closing. Like at the beginning when I first got it, for several levels, I kept saying, oh, I need to like use it and then move in instead of closing in first. Why is this guy unhittable? Give me a break. But now I am, right? I'm used to it. I've gotten kind of, I've made it instinctive, kind of, that I'm using the ranged focus attack before I close with distant targets, which is more effective, more efficient, right? Rather than running up to them, you're doing damage first. Alright, looks like we've cleaned out that area, so now... Oops, I interrupted it. Right, so hit him with a ranged attack first, and then close in while they're flipping back after having been knocked down, rather than running up to them while they're shooting at you, not knocked down, and then doing focus at melee range, right, which is what I was doing when we were back on Pretoria, and I hadn't really gotten used to the claws attacks yet, right? I was still thinking like a martial arts scrapper. But now, I'm thinking like a claws stalker. Knockback. Okay. I don't know if there might be hostages in here as well. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. I think I'm starting to get some allergies. It's pollen season here where I live in the U.S. South. In fact, I went outside today and I noticed I have a glass storm door in the front of the house, and I cleaned that thing a couple weeks ago, and it's all full of like pollen dust again today. So I don't usually have really bad allergies, but at this time of year I usually do get a little bit. So elevator there. But what's over here? Oh, a very high level lieutenant. Okay. We gotta get this guy first, because otherwise she'll juice him. One shot kill him. And then focus. See, that's the right way to do it. And then you move up. Missed. That would have taken her out, because Eviscerate does a little bit more damage than Focus. Alright, so this is the original elevator. So let's go to the one that's going to continue to the 3rd floor. No lieutenant here. These guys are just oranges, so this will be quick. Done. This is usually the final room. And I hear a glowy. There we go. So this will probably be what we're looking for. And it is. Clues. We now know about the Nemesis automatons, and we found empty files. So whatever these guys were doing. So this is just a front company. It's never performed any business at all. Interesting. No bosses, which is a little disappointing. I like fighting bosses. Of course, generally the Nemesis bosses are either these giant, like, Warhulk guys, or Nemesis, false Nemesis, right? Like you're fighting a pseudo-Nemesis. Hit her so hard she was left standing when she died. And these should be the last 3, I think. I'm not going to even bother waiting for Assassin's Claw to recharge. It's not necessary. Definitely, when we do get into inventions, we're going to want, if we're going to keep fighting really high level guys, we're going to want some accuracy buffs. But, of course, on the other hand, by the time we get to inventions, we're going to be level 50, so it may not matter that much. Once you're level 50, it just doesn't matter what level you're fighting. Right, because experience is irrelevant. Okay. So he says, Love West Trading was filled with killer robots. You know, Nemesis used to use robotic duplicates to replace important people in business and politics. Their minds weren't that sophisticated, but they could pass as human for a while. They were key in his 1946 attempt to take over America. Either this copycat is good, or we're dealing with the true Nemesis himself. If it's the latter, we're going to have to find that Nemesis prototype. Nemesis inventions may be diverse, but they all have one thing in common: they're incredibly dangerous. Yeah. Wow, no enhancements on that mission. Alright, so he says, I've got a lead on that Nemesis prototype we're searching for. According to my sources, it seems likely that the prototype was sent to a Nemesis shell company called Gordonless Imports. Gordonless owns a lot of warehouses, though. We need to check out their main office to find which warehouse has the prototypes. Yep, we can go do that at Steel Canyon. Alright, so the train station is nearby, I believe. And we will just go to the train station and head over to Steel Canyon. Get off the bushes. There we go. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Yep, there we go. Got a little turned around there, guys. Sorry about that. Interestingly, I have a couple things up at auction. I think it's reactive gas that generally sells for about $1 million. There are about the same number of people bidding as selling, and I've got it up for 15,000 and it's not selling, so some people must be selling it for less. I don't really know. Or maybe everybody bidding is bidding less than 15,000, which would be weird, knowing that the last 5 times it sold was for over $1 million. But doesn't matter. We have 19 million influence, so I can leave it up there as long as it needs to be left up. Doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to the south, so I went to the wrong place. So let's just go to the other train station. Go ahead. And then we will head into the mission. I think it must be next level the enemies start being worth over 1,000 XP, even as minions. But this, of course, would be oranges, right? The whites would be not worth quite that much yet. I really love Steel Canyon. It's one of my favorite zones. It just feels so much like a New York-style city with the giant skyscrapers and everything. Of course, a lot cleaner than most parts of New York, but that's okay. Here we go. Okay, so this is going to be another one where we're... Oh! I was going to say we're fighting only automatons, but nope, there's real ones. Real nemesis over yonder. Ah, mister. We don't really need all these greens, so we can get rid of one. Alright. That's a dead end. We're hidden. Yeah, this is a pretty small level. Crits are good. I like crits. Okay. Another really small level. So defeat the leader, his men, and seek clues to the prototype. These are just automatons still. My guess is the leader will be a Warhulk or whatever it's called. The big giant robot guys. They're not robot, I guess they're armored. They're inside a giant piece of armor that looks like a robot. I really don't need that green, but we'll hold on to it for now. I keep missing with focus. Come on. That's a good crit. That's the second time focus missed. There we go. Is there... There's nothing down here, okay. Oh, we're going down five floors. So we started on the 5th floor. Where I clearly got 3 more floors to go because if it's going from 5 down, it's going to go down to 1. It's just the way these work. Okay. There's nobody else around here but the Lancers. That's the way it's supposed to work. Kill one, knock down the other one, and we got a little enhancement. It seems like the automaton bots don't drop enhancements. Might just be a coincidence, though. We are, what, 5 beads? So we're halfway through this level. Why is it that you get them down to a sliver and then you miss 3 times? Like, all it's going to take is one little hit. A brawl would take them out and then you miss 3 times with focus, eviscerate, shockwave, or something like that. Miss. Why am I missing so much? Do these guys have high dex or something? 80%, and I'm missing that much. That's ridiculous. I mean, literally, I'm missing like 30% of the time. 40% of the time, maybe? Maybe more? I don't know. Alright, well, it's fine. Okay, so we're on level 2 out of... We need to go down to level 1, right? And my guess is we're not going to find anything on this level, but another elevator. And the leader and his men will be on the last level, with whatever clues we have to the prototype's location, if any. There's the other elevator. There's nothing there. Okay. I miss with that every time for some reason. Okay. Even without the assassin strike, though, this character is still pretty brutal. At least when she hits. Gosh. 3 misses in a row. Okay, this is the elevator we want. And we're now down to the final level. This won't be very big either, it looks like, based on the map size. Okay, no leader in here yet. So we're hidden. see anybody here. Oh. There's some nemesis down there. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. That's what we want. Now, if there was a sniper there, he would have seen me. But these guys aren't going to see me because they're not snipers. You can definitely see how brutal this character can be. I hear a glowy. And this must be the boss. Squad leader, huh? I'm going to take you out first. I know you're going to juice the other guy, but that's alright. We should be able to get him anyway. Yeah, of course. I had to say it. There we go. Where is this thing? There it is. Click. So just feed the squad leader and his men. That includes this one, I guess. This is not a man, it's an automaton. And that completes the mission. Let's head out. And I guess we have time for one more if it's fairly quick. The shipping note you found looks like it's the same cipher that Lisa Colbert broke earlier. I guess the Nemesis army hasn't had time to update their codes. If I'll get it deciphered. It seems pretty likely that the shipment came from the same warehouse that's housing Nemesis' new prototype. And then he says, I've had Lisa Colbert decrypt that packing slip that you found at Nemesis Front Company, Gordonless Imports. It pinpoints the warehouse that the Nemesis automatons are coming from. I really feel like we're closing in on this strange prototype we've been tracking. If you're ready, it's time to raid the place. Yep, we're ready. Raid Gordonless Warehouse, also in Seal Canyon, so that's convenient. So guys, you know, as I've said many times, I play D&D, and I read stuff on the D&D Beyond forums. We keep our character sheets on D&D Beyond, and so I do read that from time to time, and this last few days I've been involved in a bit of a debate on that forum, and the debate has to do with, I guess the only way to say it is somebody being a wangrod. And wangrod is the slang term that Matt Colville, who is a DM on the internet, likes to use to discuss this. And if you've never watched, if you're a D&D player, any kind of role player, and you have never watched Matt Colville's Running the Game videos, Google Matt Colville, it's C-O-L-V-I-L-L-E, and go to his playlist called Running the Game. It's like 100 episodes. It's super awesome. The guy is amazing. He is a D&D encyclopedia pretty much. He's been playing for years. He's also got a really pleasurable to listen to voice and really interesting mannerisms to watch, and he's super interesting, and he has a lot of experience. And in his 76th, I think, episode, it's called something like the Wangrod Defense. And what Matt Colville calls a wangrod is somebody who's being a jerk, basically, to the other players, and using as the excuse, it's what my character would do. And this is something that if anybody who's role-played tabletop role-playing D&D, pretty much any role-playing, has probably faced this. And this is where a player is being pretty much a jerk and doing things with his character that are ruining the game for everybody else. And his excuse is, my character would do that. That's all. I'm not. It's not. No. Nothing personal. So the example that Colville gives is the old school D&D thief, right? And he had a friend who was a thief and another friend who was a cleric. And in those days of AD&D, the cleric could not cast spells without a holy symbol, and the thief could just on a percentage roll with nothing the cleric or anybody could do about it because it was just a flat roll. The thief could pickpocket, and the thief would pickpocket the cleric's holy symbol every time the cleric went to sleep, and then he would ransom it back to the cleric the next morning. And his defense was, it's what my character would do. And they allowed it because it's what his character would do. But what Colville points out is this is a miserable, and as he says, toxic way to play D&D, where you're ruining. The cleric's player was miserable. He wasn't having any fun. The other players thought it was funny watching it, right? And the thief player was having a ball, but the cleric's player was miserable. He hated it. He didn't want to do this and keep having his holy symbol stolen, but he was stuck because he couldn't prevent it by any of the in-game rules. And, Colville talks about how, my game table just allowed it because it was just sort of, that's what happens. That's what the rules say you can do. And he points out that saying it's what my character would do is not a good defense. And so that's kind of the video. It's called the Wangra Defense. It's about 10 minutes long. I urge people to read it. I can't possibly cover the material with the skill and deftness that Matt Colville does. But the reason I bring this up is because on the D&D forum, somebody made a post where they talked about, oh, there's a sniper. They talked about how it was a new DM, and he was with a group of players, and running a couple of adventures, I guess, a couple of sessions, and the one player who is playing a rogue, his rogue always just runs in and starts stabbing people, just starts combat. And the rest of the players may not really even want to be in combat. They might want to solve it with charm, with non-combat, with negotiation, with puzzle solving, whatever it happens to be. And the rogue just goes in and starts stabbing people. And then he described, then they get it, so then the rest of the party says, okay, we better go help him so he doesn't get killed. And then as soon as the battle gets hard, the rogue uses disengage and stealth and sneaks away and doesn't help them win the fight that he started. And it's really upsetting and annoying the other players because their characters, several of them have gone unconscious or almost died because of this rogue. But even worse, those players want to do non-combat solutions to a lot of what they're doing, and they can't because the rogue keeps preempting them. And so the players are miserable and unhappy. And there were a couple of posters on the forum who said, well, it's what his character would do. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way, right? You made up the character. As one person said, the character didn't get dropped on you from the sky. You created a character who always goes in and starts fights and refuses to negotiate, right? And that's making all of the other players at the table unhappy. So that means it's time for you to either change your character or make up a new character, in my opinion. You don't get to make everybody else miserable with the excuse that it's what my character would do. Your character shouldn't be the sort of character who, in order to play him, you're going to make everybody else miserable. And I keep not letting my hide re-engage because I'm too busy talking. Okay, let's let the hide re-engage now. Yeah, I mean, my feeling as a grown-up right? As somebody who's been playing D&D for a long time and has experience with it, my feeling is you have no business creating a character or role-playing a character in such a way that you're going to make everybody else at the table miserable. And so if you can't find a way to play your current character in a way that doesn't make everybody miserable, you're going to need to make up a new character. And this is what Matt Colville said. He said, I guarantee that you can find... he juiced both of those guys. You can find a character to play that will be fun for you and will not be destroying the fun of other players. It isn't a zero-sum game. You don't have to make everybody else miserable in order to have fun. You may not be able to play the character that first came to your mind or the character you'd most like to play, and that may seem a little unfair, but if you've got a character whose concept is going to make it awful for everybody else, you need to come up with a new concept. It's that simple. You don't get to ruin the experience of everyone else at the table. It's just not fair. Now this is a really huge map. Yeah, this is a pretty long mission. Let's see if we can find these glowies. There's one. I hear it. There's two of them. Let's take a click. Is that a boss down there, maybe? There's a clue. That one's not a clue. But I hear another glowy. Oh, there's a Warhulk. Alright, well, we're definitely going to fight him. Let's see if there's any Nemesis snipers. Not really. Okay, let's take this guy out. I don't think we can knock these things over. Crits are good. Placate. And we're gonna hide. And then we're gonna Assassin's Claw him. There we go. Oh, you can knock him over. That's excellent. And this should take him out. Ouch. But it's almost 10,000 XP for defeating one of those guys. And there's the last clue, so let's go get it. I would do more of this, guys, but this has been a bit of a long episode already, so I think we're just going to grab this clue and be done. And here we go. Surgeon's gone. And then we just click. And that should do us. Nope. Now what? Do we have to fight every single guy? Oh, I guess we're stuck with a defeat all. Well, that's annoying. Especially since there really isn't any reason to do this. The purpose was to find the notes, and we found them, right? Oh. Yes, so these are just automatons now. So what do you think, guys? Have you ever been in a situation where someone was making you miserable and using, but it's what my character would do as their defense? My point on the thread, and my point here would be, if we're playing a role-playing game together, my assumption is that we're friends. And if we're friends, and you know that you're making your friend miserable by what you've chosen to roleplay, what kind of friend are you to keep doing it? Right? How would you like it if I decided to make your character, you and your character miserable back? This is one of the problems, is that people who insist on the roleplay purity, right? That well, it's just what my character would do, and you can't prevent me from doing what my character would do, often are relying on the other players not doing what their character would do. Because, for example, the rogue who's risking everybody's life, well, in character, what most of those characters would probably do is let him die, right? If you've got like a neutral character, or if you've got a character who's just ruthless, or a character who's chaotic or whatever, they might just be like, yeah, I'm not going in and helping you, because you're bringing this on yourself. Just desserts, you know, you make your bed, you lie in it. And I mean, heck, when I was a kid, we had one of our friends was role playing a thief, not a rogue, a thief. That's what the class was. And his character was chaotic good, I believe, and he was a pretty good-hearted character. And he would, you know, help you in battle and stuff. He was great that way, but he was a kleptomaniac. That this was the character's personality. This was his character, that he was a kleptomaniac. This is what my friend decided. And so he would just, not meaning to be a terrible person, not even meaning to keep stuff, just he had sticky fingers and he liked to steal. And so he was a kleptomaniac and he would steal from his own party. And we were a lawful party. Almost everybody else in the party but one other character was lawful. Most of them were lawful neutral. The guy's breaking the law. All the lawful neutral characters care about his law. They don't care about good. They don't care about evil. They don't have mercy in them. And one of the characters, my character, was a lawful evil assassin, right? A guy who basically says, you break the law, I kill you. Because he was a killer and he was lawful, right? So in those days, assassins had to be evil, but they didn't have to be chaotic, and they could be any kind of evil. And so I went with lawful evil. And so, because I thought it'd be interesting. And so this character was stealing from us. Well, we put up with this for, I don't know, a year. I mean, a really long period of time while we were playing these characters. What would real lawful characters do if somebody keeps relentlessly pickpocketing them? Be merciful and say, oh, we'll be nice to you? Would they do that? Or would they say, oh, screw this, we're kicking you out of the party? Right? You're endangering the whole party. My assassin at one point went to take a potion of extra healing. And when I reached for it, the DM was like, sorry, it's not there. And what do you mean it's not there? It's not where you left it. And we all immediately said, oh, it's got to be the thief, right? Well, he could have gotten my character killed. Why would my character keep adventuring him? Why would he hang out with him? Why don't I just kick him from the party? Well, because my friend's playing the character, and he's going to get upset if we kick him from the party. More upset than I get from just having a potion pickpocketed from me. So I would just say, I'll suck it up. The thing is, you shouldn't have to suck it up. If your friend is a friend, he will not allow you to be miserable all session long just so he can get off on being a pickpocket. There are other ways to be a thief or a rogue in D&D. You don't have to pickpocket from your friends. And frankly, I don't want to play with a character who's going to pickpocket me. Anyway, that's my rant about that. We've only got one enhancement. So we're going to stop here, guys. I think we've done enough for tonight. Until next time, I am Scarpalock, and this is City of Heroes.